All right, hello, and welcome to another Expert Insight interview. My name is John Golden from Sales Pop, online sales magazine, and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Mohan Rao, who is actually on the other side of the country in Vienna, Virginia, where actually I used to live myself. So it's nice. Welcome, Mohan.
Hey, John, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, it was nice to reminisce about, as I said, Mohan's located in the place where we used to live. And Mohan is the Chief Product and Technology Officer of Novell. You guide Novell's strategic product direction, including driving innovation, defining product offerings, and ensuring Novell's product align with the company's mission and vision. You've over 3 decades of entrepreneurial and executive experience building technology and product development organizations. And what we're going to talk about today is shaping business strategy in the AI era. So it's fair to say, Mohan, right, that AI has kind of disrupted everything, and a lot of people are, I would say, pretty confused or unsure of how to actually react to it. It's one thing adopting a few AI tools or whatever. It's another thing figuring out how does AI shape your business strategy.
Yeah, no, totally. If you think of AI as a tool, that is just sort of the very beginnings of where you might enter into
Mhm.
AI. It's more appropriate, John, to think of AI as a platform for business transformation,
Mhm.
right? It's really no less than that because you can use it for individual use cases. I write better copy, I write better code, I can do this creative work faster, that sort of thing. But if you really think about it, it can make the entire organization, not just individuals, more effective and more efficient in whatever it is that you do, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, we're talking about the knowledge economy here, the knowledge workers
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, and I feel that's where people are a little stuck right now because tools are easy to get your head around, as you said, especially if you're looking at point solutions or doing particular tasks. It's another thing to look at, okay, how does this impact how my business operates on a more holistic level? And I think that's where people are struggling right now. So if you were advising a business, how would you advise them to start looking at AI in a transformational way as opposed to just some neat tools?
John, where I'd start is reimagining the enterprise itself in terms of how you capture value, right? So that is just a fancy way of saying, how do you operate? What are your products and services? What do you offer to your customers or clients? And how do you go about delivering these services or products,
Mhm.
right? So just kind of fundamentally asking the question about how you operate, because what AI can do for you, and a lot of people, there are two camps, hey, it's too early, or some people starting to feel like, have I missed the boat?
Mhm.
But when it comes to organizational transformation, it is still early in the game, right?
Yeah.
So because you have to kind of go from, you're dealing with individuals right now, and soon you'll make the team productivity higher, not individual productivity higher. And then beyond teams, you can make the uh, divisional or the organizational structure higher. So you can go from what we think of as individual work to more execution work as a
Mhm.
team to more of the operations of the company itself and then the strategy of the company. So you can think of it at different altitudes of business
Mhm.
and apply AI in all of these levels. The way I would go about imagining the enterprise is what are the products and services that you offer to your customers, and how can you make that more efficient and effective for them, right? So
Mhm.
just fundamentally reimagining.
Mhm.
What we're doing at Knownwell is we're building an AI platform for professional services where yeah, we offer something called commercial intelligence, because professional services generally is run in a very bespoke manner,
Yeah.
right? So you use tools for sales and marketing, as you
Yeah.
know. Then when it comes to delivery, it's all relationship based, and
Mhm.
you ask the account manager, how's this client doing? And then the account manager will say whatever, but it's not a holistic way of dealing with it like you would deal with in financial services or
Mhm.
in SaaS. So you can think about what are the products and services that you offer, what are the core capabilities of your company, and is there a repeatable process there that happens over and over and over again, and is AI can AI be used to make the humans working there more productive, or is it uh, a way to do things autonomously,
Mhm.
right? So for some things that are happening on their own on the AI layer, as building an intelligent operating system. And you can think of examples with Amazon or Airbnb about
Yeah.
how they have built these autonomous processes that
Mhm.
are essentially kind of working in concert with the humans. And then you can look at the everyday back office, front office, customer support, all of those types of processes. So fundamentally,
Mm.
I think, John, the answer is think of your organization holistically. Think about all of the processes that you work on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and start pulling out the use cases for AI.
Yeah, and I think that's the big challenge that a lot of organizations are going to face into, because let's face it, most organizations don't have efficient process, or don't have efficient processes, often not well defined processes, often processes that maybe haven't been revisited in a while. So I think that's going to be the first challenge, is actually figuring out your processes, because as you know, I mean, AI can only do so much, just like any technology. But if the underlying processes are, yeah, I always say, you know, if you have bad processes and you automate them, what do you get? You get just automated bad processes, right?
That's so true. In a way, kind of a lot worse too, because you plunked in like $10 million or something on that initiative, right?
Yeah.
So you're just going nowhere very fast.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, totally. You have to take a process view for the organizational transformation and think about it end to end in terms of how you produce these processes. And ultimately, this is a scaling method, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens in most companies is you have a business model, and you have a business model on paper that looks efficient, that looks great, but in reality, the real life is much messier,
Mhm.
right? And there is a divergence between the business model and the operating reality. And that's where, process sounds like a boring word, but that's what is needed to say,
Mhm.
how do I match the business model that I had the original vision for? Why are things not working the way I imagined it? And then start to kind of bring the reality of it and lay it out as a process.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, as you're building it for professional service, and professional services is a classic example of where, you know, processes are sometimes, you know, defined to some degree, but there's a lot of human interaction. There's a lot of exceptions, bespoke, as you said, things that aren't scalable, aren't repeatable, and that's the problem, isn't it? With a lot of professional services, you hit a ceiling very quickly because you can't scale, because at the end of the day it's so human based.
It is so human based. There's a couple of other things about professional services as well. Like you said, humans don't scale that well.
Hmm.
So if you want more revenues, you need more humans, and it's a linear thing.
Yep.
You also have consultants who are good at their craft, which is
Yeah.
why your clients hire you. But they're not usually your best business people to grow your accounts.
Hmm.
So because of this and a couple other factors, if you look at the services industry, it is a barbell of companies that grow up to 20-30 million dollars and then stop there, and a few get a little bigger than that. And then you got the giants like Accenture and
Yeah.
others who work in the partner model, which is a way of subdividing the problem into smaller problems. Because I think somebody who is very effective can deal up to 10 or 20 or 30 clients. You can't deal more than that, right?
Hmm.
So you need to either then go to the partner model and have the revenue base support it, or you stall at around 20-30 million dollars. And the question is, how do you keep growing, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
That those are some of the challenges.
Yeah. And the nice thing about AI and digital transformation is that should be able to help with that. Because, I mean, the other part of if you scale by people, the other thing you end up doing is you build in middle management layers and bureaucracy. And before you know it, yes, you can do more, but you're often not more efficient, you're often actually less efficient than you were before because you've layered in all these people. But it seems to me like AI is going to be able to help with a lot of that in terms of taking, and I think this is what we always say, is taking away all the routine rote tasks, making things more efficient, and then allowing for the humans to be that creative element.
You said it so well. Absolutely. I think what AI allows you to do is, in addition to the efficiency and the effectiveness aspects that we talked about, it allows you to flatten the hierarchy. You don't
Hmm.
need a hierarchy of people in the
Yeah.
company. And you can also argue that the emotional impact of doing the creative work with these tools, doing the grunt work, is a lot higher job satisfaction. Right. So, there are other displacement that's going to come out of AI. That's a separate thing, and that's a pretty serious thing. But you can make an argument for positive emotional impact of these types of transformations to do creative work.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest thing is that it's going to really do away with traditional organizational structures, and people are going to have to learn how to operate in with much more flattened structures. And that's a challenge can be a challenge for some people. The other thing too is I think with AI, it's going to force you to pay a lot more attention to the data and how you collect data and how clean your data is, because again, AI can only operate with whatever data sets it's drawing upon, and if those data sets are all messed up, then it's not going to help that much.
It's not going to help. And the reason why we talked about getting to a process view is what you can then do is you can build something called the operational data factory.
Hmm.
Right. So you are leaving digital crumbs along the way as you're operating the business. Right. And so you need to get to a point where data is a natural byproduct of the work that you're doing. Right. So when you build this operational data factory that is in sync with the process view of the world that you've built out, what it allows you to do are a couple of magical things. One is around creating this virtuous data cycle. Like as you serve more,
Hmm.
you get more efficient because now you got the data, and you can build algorithms to keep making your processes better and better and better, which is the secret of many of the large whether it's Amazon or whoever, that is the secret, that they have got this data to keep improving. But also, what it allows you, John, is to experiment. Right? You can then say, what if I ran a promotion in San Diego for my service?
Hmm.
Right, and be able to immediately collect data on that in San Diego, so that you can experiment. In an ordinary analog world, if you can run 4 experiments a year, here literally you can run 100 experiments a year,
Yeah.
right? So because everything is tooled for the operational data factory.
Yeah, and I think that's a really fascinating point, because it's going to allow, as you said, it's going to allow you to experiment and to run test cases, and therefore to make more informed decisions. And I think that's one of the, and I think especially for smaller businesses or growing businesses. I mean, think of the difference that could make if you're able to make much more intelligent and informed decision, and maybe have to kind of experiment, I mean, like, roll the dice a little less perhaps, and I mean, that's going to be a huge game changer.
Yeah, totally. For smaller companies, it's almost easier to imagine, right? So you
Hmm.
can say, here are my 4 or 5 critical processes I need to think about. And then you run a thought experiment and say, if I could get 10 times more efficient and 3 times more effective, what does it mean for my business? Right? What can I do with all this extra time, so to speak? All right, what can I do? Just sort of imagining those, and then trying to get to a vision of what is possible. Whether it's possible today or not is less important, but having this strategic view of where things could be going, and then starting to pick out the use cases and start experimenting with one by one by one, I think is the secret to getting started, because building a clean operational data factory is going to take a long
Hmm.
time. So don't start there, but start around. That's one of the mistakes that I see often people make. They will think of it as a technology project, and start investing in modern data stack. Instead of all of that, it's better to think of it as process and your own business and the impact on people and all of those things, and then starting to experiment is the key to getting started.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing about AI as well is, as you said, I mean, I think the impacts are going to be huge, and they're going to be surprising in many ways. But I think it's definitely going to change from a technology point of view. I mean, it's going to change how we interact with technology. I mean, ourselves, we're already like building agents into pipeline or CRM, because let's face it, at the end of the day, when you have systems that you have to learn, we don't really want to learn them. We really don't want to learn all the clicks and the drop downs. But we want to unlock the power of that feature. And I think AI and NLQ and all of that is going to allow us to interact with technology in a different way, which again is going to make it's going to make businesses, that much more efficient.
Yeah, yeah. It's always been sold in a different way, but so far, all the software we've had is you have to do something with the software. The
Hmm.
software doesn't do much for you,
Yeah.
right? So it's always you putting the work and typing and clicking and whatever, right? So if you could have the software do work for you, right? Whether it's the agent architecture
Mm.
or
Yeah.
however it comes to life, right? That is the multiplier that you're looking for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, yeah. You've always had the software doesn't do anything for you unless you put the effort in. Yes, you're correct. And I think that's where the big change is going to come. And just I mean, as going forward, then I think it also is going to change the types of resources and the types of people you recruit into an organization. As we said, the structure of organizations, because now with AI can do a lot, but also we have access to resources globally, fractional, contract or whatever. So I think this is I think this is all coming together at the same time. That's just going to change the nature of how businesses are constructed.
Totally, totally, 100%. Again, the middle management that, I'm not necessarily negative against middle
Mhm.
management. It was required for a good reason. You needed
Yeah.
hierarchy, right? But I think those go away. So everybody needs to learn the craft of whatever it is that you do,
Hmm.
and everybody needs to know how to deal with customers in terms of whatever it is you do, right? So you got to have both the C's with you, and then you have this plethora of tools in the middle to help you do things.
Yeah. And I think then you have to, everybody, even individually, has to ask themselves, what are my core skills? What are the things that I bring to, and what are the things that I bring to the table that AI isn't going to be able to maybe do as well as I can? And I think it's going to force people to kind of upskill themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like what are your core skills? What do you bring to the table every day? Right. So is it in my world, can you build a product that customers are going to love,
Mm-hmm.
and how are you going to go about doing that, building winning products? Or if you're a salesperson, I've got all of these tools, and I used to have a quota of X, and now suddenly my quota is 5X, and what does it mean for me? Like, how do I go about doing this? So you got to be very literate in terms of leveraging these tools, but also I think ultimately the creative work that's involved in selling or marketing or building products or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, right? So is going to be the leverage is going to come again, whether it's going to make you more effective, or it's going to make you more efficient. It's one of the two levers, right? So if it's
Yeah.
more back office, it's more around efficiency. If it is more around front office, it's likely to be more about effectiveness, right? So although the two kind of intersect a little bit, so just kind of thinking about this, positioning yourself for the future, I think is critical.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely. I think that's a great piece of advice for people. Should already be thinking about that, and not in a not in a panicked way, but thinking about it in a good way. Because let's face it, um, yeah, 99.999% of people have a lot of things in their jobs that they probably don't really care to do, and AI may actually take a lot of those away for you, allowing you to focus on where you can bring the highest value. So I think it'll be a good thing. Who knows where it goes in the way future, but in the in the medium term future, I think it's exciting. So, listen, thanks, Mohan. All of Mohan's information will be below this video. But before we go, please do tell people a bit more about you and Known Well.
Yeah, thanks, John. I'm Mohan Rao. I'm the Chief Product and Technology Officer of Novell. What we're doing at Novell is we are building an AI platform. It's already in the hands of customers. We're building a platform for commercial intelligence focused on professional services companies. And what we mean by commercial intelligence is around client intelligence, engagement intelligence, revenue intelligence, and be able to provide the leverage that we just talked about, so that there is a way for you to serve your clients better.
Excellent. And as I said, all of Mohan's and Known Well's information will be below this video. So thanks again, Mohan. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, John.